Alright, welcome to Zandvoort track walkthrough. As usual, we'll go to the lap from the inside, and after that we'll go from the outside so we could see the line better. And for this one I'm in the hot lap mode, but I lowered the tent since we gonna race in the dark. It was really cold on hours of practice. I think it was like during the night, I think it went down to like 7 or 9 degrees, so mine right now it's 13 degree on outlap, so keep that in mind with the time. I'm gonna show this lap. You will see a couple of mistakes. It's still my fastest lap. Honestly, I'm not sure how, but sector 1 is not, the line's not perfect, so I might show another lap that was my second fastest for the first time after, but I'll still show this one because it's the fastest one. So let's start with the inside, and as usual, uh, take a look at brake, throttle, steering input during this lap. So this was a 133.8, and as you can see, I'll talk later. Some of the line are probably not correct, but we're gonna watch from the inside first, and then we could analyze the lap. Sorry, this one. So before we start, keep in mind that all the braking point reference that we'll give and acceleration will be different from car to car, will be different from if you have a different field of view, different if you're driving from inside, outside, front bumper, I'm driving in a VR, so all those factors could change. So it will just be a reference for you to experiment to see where you could try it. So coming to turn one, let's go from the inside first. We'll see the braking point. You have on the left the 100-meter board that is there, and you will have on the ground you have the other sign that show the corner, and you have on the ground this line, the pit exit line. Don't know if you see it right on the stream, but that for me is my braking point. When I get to that line, that's where I'm gonna start to brake. Let's go slowly and check. So almost right on when I don't see it for the Porsche. That's where I'm starting to brake for me. Could be a little early for you, but you have the 100-meter board, you have the corner board. So between those, you should start being on the brake over there. So brake as long as possible in the straight line to maximize your brake. We'll go slowly. So brake hard. Straight line, I turn a tiny bit, starting to turn for the turn one. Because I want to use on this the first corner, there's a lot of camber on the track. Zandvoort, there will be a lot of corner where you have camber, so you could use that to have more grip. It will help you to get to the corner faster. So let's go from the outside and check the line. So I will do for this corner, I will go on a little bit outside, and then I'm gonna cut back to get a better exit. So let's take a look slowly. So braking a little bit. I don't want to be on the curb yet. Then I'm gonna try to come back closer. But like I said, the first sector for this track, for this lap, is not perfect. You could be a bit closer on the. Oops, sorry. On the exit, you could be closer and going to cut more closely to the curb where you see the darker patch like here. You could be close to that. We'll take a look on another lap after that.
Do you use the white painted line for the entry to this corner? Because it's a little bit different before it gets to the bricking, right?
Which white line?
Where it starts to make that jagged little dash to the right there. There's the white painted line coming up as kind of like a marker. You're coming up on it pretty quick here. Yeah. That right there. Yeah. And it seems it's a good directional marker for how to take that corner.
Yeah. You could aim for this king here, but don't stay on the inside. Let the car go a little bit wide on this corner on the entry. So you will go a little bit wider, and then you're gonna try to get as straight as possible to get back on the accelerator to then get close and still be full throttle. So you enter here, get wide a little bit here, let the car go. I'm trail braking here, but then I want to go back full throttle. And on the exit, you could use the curb on the outside. There's a little bit of brake on the outside. If you put your wheel on that, it's fine, but it you could see it end pretty quickly. So try to get back on the track as soon as possible here, just to don't get on the sand, because if you touch the sand, you're gonna lose a lot of time. Let's check. See here, I'm only gonna touch the curb back on the track. turn 2 and 3. Go slow. Just want to find. I don't have a really good reference point for this one. Let's try to see if there's something just like this one of this corner that it will be when you practice as it's like middle of the curve. This curve, the beginning, the end. You have this motorsport black board on the left that could help. At the end of it for me is mostly at the end of this board, but honestly I don't use it. It's just gut feeling corner. That's how I'm doing it. Just used to it. So you will need to try, but I think that board could be a good one to start with, the black motorsport. So when you get to the end of it, for me, I'm downshifting my one gear, braking hard, and then I will let it go. And when I get to the apex, fast on, I'll be full throttle back there. Got a little slide there, but be careful here on the exit. Be careful. If you go too wide, you're gonna touch the grass, and you will, since it's so short before the next corner, there's a good chance that you will just go straight and hit the wall on somewhere, or if it's the beginning of the race, it'll be a big traffic here, a big line to go through the corner, and that's one place that's dangerous to cause accident because probably there's a good chance you're gonna go straight if you touch the grass on the exit here. So let's take a look. A bit faster for this one. Brake is a quick brake. So we'll go one more time full speed, and you'll see just like a tab on the brakes really quick. Just brake, don't shift, turn. It's done. It's not much. So for this one, like almost the airplane, as you could see, I will make the car slide. Like after I made that mistake, I was 10 down on my previous best lap, but I got it back on the straight after that because yes, I did a mistake. I went too far in the corner, made the car slide, but since I went too far, I could turn the car back on a straight line to get back on throttle sooner than if I do it correctly. So I was gaining back that 10 on the, it's not a straight, but it's flat until, check my map. It's straight until turn 7. So 4, 5, 6 it's flat. So I was gaining back the 10 that I lose here because of that. So kind of correct the mistake. So I slide, but I was already full throttle way sooner than the other lap that will show the first section. So let's go back. So coming out of this one. For my braking point reference, I'm using the Assetto Corsa Competizione on the right, the end of the board, and I think it's the one on the lower one. It's not the end. I'm looking at it like going to the end of it. It's not at the end, but like 2 board before from the one on the top, so you could use those for your braking point. But I'll come back to that section with the other lap after that. So the exit, you could use, You could use it's perfectly fine to use the curb and you still have a little bit of concrete after the curb. You could use it, but it's not big, so I will try to just keep it on the curb on the exit for here. Don't want to try, because if you touch the grass here or something, you don't get a good exit. This part is flat and you will have someone on your back if you are fighting with someone. So focus on the exit here. This one to play. It's really hard to pass someone if they missed it, but if someone have a chance they might try it, it could be dangerous. And if there's a big train of car behind you, if you miss here and someone start to pass, you will have to live in one corner and you'll just get passed by everyone. So focus on your exit here. This section is flat, should not be a problem for anyone to be flat here. Just one thing here, it's still flat, but you don't need to cut over this curve and this triangle here. At the end of the curve and between the end of the triangle, like somewhere here, there's a big bump. Just you could unsettle the car and you're not gonna gain time by cutting it. So just try to avoid it. Yeah. There's nothing to gain here. Like I'm not even close to it. So it's still perfectly fine to do it flat here. So braking point here will be braking reference, I should say, will be this orange on the fence on the left. That's what I'm using. I'm gonna brake before that. So I'm gonna, I think let's go down one gear and just, you will see this corner. It's a really fast corner and you will need to be patient and coast. You'll see it. I'll go through it slowly from the inside. So I'm gonna brake like a little bit before it, like a car or two before the orange on the fence. I want to brake a straight line because like this corner you're like on a little bit on top of the hill, so you want to brake here because now at this part it's going down. You probably want to be like off the brake and get the car settled so you could do this corner pretty quick. Let's go slow. So I'm braking, downshift one gear for me. Then I'm gonna release the brake here right while I was starting to going down. This should be coasting like other car, like you can see the Porsche I'm using like 10-15% on the throttle, but that's just the way you should be driving the Porsche since the motor is on the rear. It just helps keeping the back of the car get some weight on it, so it could help in the fast corner, because if I lift completely here I'm probably gonna lose the rear of the car. So I just keep a tiny bit of throttle, but other car just be patient here, patient, just let it go. And here you can see the curve is coming, so when you get to the beginning of this curve on the right, somewhere around here you should be back full throttle, because the rest corner you will be able to do it flat if you do the line correctly. Should be good. You just need to be careful on the exit here to not go, as usual, don't want to touch the sand here. So you will need to, if you don't exit on the curve here, you probably went on the throttle too late. If you end up in the sand, you probably go on the throttle too soon. So that will be something you could test. Let's go from the side. See, I'm already going back on throttle here, and I'm starting to see it. So I'll be full throttle here, even before the curve. But if you a bit before this curve, you should be good in any car. Then I'm just gonna let go the car, unwind the wheel, let it go on the curb. just saw that I went a little bit over it. Here, oops. I want to see how far I go on it, but you should not go on it. You don't need to, and it could be risky. Didn't go too much on it, so it's not that bad, but don't feel obligated to do this. You could just be on the white line that on the curb. Aim just for this part. Almost touched the grass here a bit. I was on the first part of it, but it didn't do anything to the car, but you never know. You don't need to risk it. And you let go the car. You could take the curve a bit, but you don't need to take much of it, because as you can see, you don't have a long way to go after that you will need to turn a bit left for the next corner. Some braking reference here. There's this white line that you could use it. But keep in mind that we'll be racing in the night for the Cherokee. I don't know if the Wednesday split racing in the night too with the real weathers, but I will be racing in the night, so you will need to test if you could see that line during the night probably. But what I prefer is just when the corner, like when this tiny corner ends, when I cross the line here, when it gets straight, that's where I'm going to brake. I'm not looking at the line when I'm driving, I'm just when it's get back straight. Let's go slowly and we'll see. I'm gonna pass the lines, get straight, and I'm on the brake. So braking hard, and here that's a tricky corner. This is one of the corners that you need to be brave, but not on the entry, on the exit of it. So what I mean, I want to cut on the first part of it. I could touch a bit of this curve, the beginning of it, maybe until like not on the top of it, but the first part here. I don't want to go on this part where it's flat. It's too high, so I'm probably just, I didn't check the replay, but I could put my wheel on the, if you look closer, I'll just go slow. So you have this first part, and then it's flat, and then it's going back up. So you could put your tire where the first flat is, and that's where you want to be. You want to cut this corner, and when you're gonna get air, you're gonna get full throttle back when you're on this curve. And the scary part of it is you're gonna exit like really close to this one, and it's really tiny, and the grass is just waiting for you, and you still turning. So you need to build your confidence for this corner, getting this quick corner here, because if it was just a straight line, if you touch the grass and you steering it straight, that should be fine. You should be able to bring back the car. But since we're still turning here, if you touch the grass, there's a good chance that the rear will just go. So let's see the line, how much curve I will cut. So right now I'm already off the brake, and another car will just be coasting here. Coasting, and then when I get here, full throttle. See, I only clip a bit of the bigger curve on it. Like I said, I don't want to be on the flat part, because you could bottom up the car and could launch you. But this is the max that I will go. I will not try to go much more, not more than that. Go see. See, that's the limit that I will try to go. So don't go more than that. But at this point, you should be back full throttle. So you're gonna exit wide. You could aim for that curve. Try not go too much on it, because it's so small. So just before it. That's perfectly fine. Don't need to push more than that because the grass gonna wait for you just at the end of the curve and you're still turning here. So just be careful on that. So you just need, that's one of those corners that you need a lot of practice. It's so fast, and like other corner before, the brake is really quick. Just gonna take a look full speed. Here, take a look at the brake. So turn 8. This is another corner that there's no real good reference for your braking. So we're just gonna go slow, find where I'm starting to brake. But usually I look, hard to say. I'm just doing it by feel right now. You always have.
I've been using the yellow crane because you can still see it at night, and when it kind of passes that sign, you get a little bit past that sign. That's kind of what I've been using as a brake marker.
So I'm braking
The
here.
TV crane.
Behind the Pirelli sign.
And that's right, yeah.
Yeah. See,
And
it's
it
still
still
on
shows
the.
up in your headlights.
I'm starting to brake here. For me, I'm not using the crane, but if it's working for you, go ahead and use it. Like what I'm using, but now I'm used to it, is just the sign for the corner. Like it's on my left, is on the right, but that's not really good one. But if you have something that's work for you, like the crane is some place in your windshield, uh, when it's get there, you could use that. You could use
Yeah.
any.
Just when the crane goes over top of the fence, like right where you are now,
Yeah,
where the crane is just sitting over the corner edge of the fence. That's kind of what I've been using too. It seems to be
yeah, but
at least a reference.
yeah, yeah. To start, it's something you could do until you get used to it. That's a that's one thing you could use. And if anyone else have something that you're using, feel free to set it. But yeah, so this corner you need, since you're gonna brake like wall turning, just be really careful. The back could be loose sometimes. But I'll just go slowly from the inside. So I'm gonna brake. I'm trying to get my steering as straight as possible. See, I did a tiny bit, but it's just this corner you need to brake wall turning. It could be hard. And now I'm just coasting until the apex. I want to go close to the curb here. I don't want to go too much over because there's no curve after that. You're just gonna bumps in the grass. We don't need to go over it, but just close to it. And this is those two corners, this one and the next one. For me, in a way, what I found they're really hard to get the power down because for some reason it's just the rear just want to pass the front every time that I get here. So you could try using more TC or setup thing, but this track you probably already have max swing on your car. Since there's no big straight, right now I'm having max swing on the car. So let's watch it from the outside one time. So this one, brake while turning, like I said. And when you get to the biggest turn, then now you're just coasting. And then on the apex here, you get to full throttle. So you don't want to exit too wide. That's pretty much a little bit more than half of the track, but that should be fine. So you don't want to go touch this curve on the left. That will be just wide. So you're gonna compromise a bit here to be on a better place for the next corner. So you compromise there, exit in the middle of the track to place your car better here to get. This is a small straight. It's not straight, but that's if you get a good exit here before the chicane. This is one of the other plays that you could try for going for a pass. Because if you get a good exit here, it's possible to pass here safely before the chicane. So that's why we compromise the exit of corner 9 by exiting like almost in the middle of the track. And then I will be able to bring the car on the right more. Because if you go too wide on the other one, for this corner, turn 10, you'll probably only be like maybe the middle of the track here. So you're gonna be losing on the exit of turn 10, and since it will be a straight after that, probably the second longest that, and the one that you have a chance for a pass. So compromise the one before and get a good exit from here. And this one, like the previous one, you will be braking while turning. They're really technical corner, those two. And what I'm using for my reference, it will be the ambulance on the right or the orange on the fence that is on the left of the ambulance. That's what I'm going to be using. So when I get it to it, when it get almost past my view on the right, that's what I'm starting to brake. So you will see here, I think I'm doing it. I'm gonna straight out the wheel as much as possible. Try to brake straight, and then I'm gonna turn. See, I'm bringing back the steering a bit, not much, but then I'm just gonna coast. And this curve, I want to go on it, so I could try to straighten up the corner and get a better exit. You could even enter. You probably gonna see some people enter wider on this turn, so let's just rewind a bit. Some people could even be a little bit further right here and cut more. But when you get back to like here, middle of the corner, that will be where you want to go back full throttle. So you could try to open up a little bit more. You just have to experiment for a different car. A front engine car might prefer to get a little bit wider and then have a good exit for it, but this seems to work with the Porsche. And on the exit, you could use the curb. There's a little bit of extra concrete after it. Don't need to use it, just go on. I will suggest just don't need to go past the curb. Just get a little bit bumpy over there. And this corner exit, like the previous one, like turn 9, is really hard to get the power down, just because it's slippery while you're turning, while trying to accelerate it fast. You just be careful on it. Coming to the chicane. braking reference for this is the curb. So it will be a couple car before the curb on the right that you have here. So I'm probably gonna brake like really right after this. Yeah, like a couple car before, maybe 3 car. That's what I'm using. You also have the board on the right for the corner. Well, I prefer to look in front and don't have to look on the right too much. Like I prefer to have reference point. They are where I'm looking for the corner. Like right now, I'm looking in front of me, as far as possible. Still, when I get closer to the corner, I will look to the corner. But this is where I'm gonna start to brake. Couple car before the curb, and you also have the white line, I think, here. So you know you have to pass the white line before braking, and you brake a couple car before the curb on our left. Let's go. It's gonna brake as usual in a straight line. For me, I'm gonna take the chicane in the second gear, but other car could be in first. It's all car dependent. Getting to the chicane, we got the same type of curve that we got in turn 8 that I told you to cut, but not too much. This is the same thing here. You could cut the first part of it, but don't need to go on this flat, the white on the top of it. It's just gonna be too bumpy. If you take a look, it's still a little bit more, so don't need to cut there too much because just is the entry of this one. So usually when you get a chicane or 2 corners that are really close, you're gonna try to stay more on exit on the middle of the track, much more to prepare for the next one and have a better exit for the second corner. Let's see. So I'm just gonna cut the first part of this curve, even just a tiny bit here. I want to take the middle for this one for 12. I want to keep the car low since we still have a lot of camber here, so I want to keep the car close to the white line. I think on this lap I go a little bit like on the left, the right, and then come back to cut to get a good exit. We'll see. I think I did it. So let the car go a tiny bit. Then I want to cut back to get on throttle on the end of it, but you could stay close to the white line. I even saw some other driver, they go on the curb, so you could go. Oh. Some people like to go on this curb on the top, it's flat. They like to go between the yellow and the top where it's flat, so they could take the corner like on top of here. I just don't like it as much in the Porsche. I just prefer to stay here, but that's something you could always try. So if you go a little bit on it, it should be fine. It's not that high, it's not serrated, but don't go over. I will not suggest to go over those yellow sausage here. On the exit here, this one is pretty rough. Doesn't look too much, but it's pretty rough when you get over it, and over here it get pretty rough. So I will suggest don't go too aggressive on this one. Just go like the first part of it where it's darker. You could put your tire there and this should be fine, but if you go on it sometime, just because it's like yellow here and you get your tire over here, the car is an angle, sometimes the bottom will scrape on this part of the curb, so you just make the car bounce here. Just be careful not to put too much on it. Only use the first part. And last corner, I'm using the orange on the fence that is on the right, where beside those two Marshall, that will be my breaking point for me. Going there, fast corner, and on this one you need to be careful to get the line right to be able to stay flat after this braking zone. It should be flat until turn 1. So you see, it's possible with every car. You just need to work on your line and make sure to do it right. We'll go this one slowly from the inside, go back on the outside after. Brake. Let's go back a tiny bit. So when I get to the orange, that's where I'm braking, going down 1 gear. And this one, this curve on the right, you could cut it. This is almost flat. There's nothing there to be dangerous. See, it's pretty flat. It's nothing. You could cut a bit on this part of it because I will be cutting on until this dark spot on the concrete after it. I think you could go on that. That should be fine. Let's see. See, I'm gonna cut. Yeah, I was just on the curb, but so don't worry. Use it. Use this plate because this is where you will be back full throttle. When you get to this here, in middle of the corner, you should be back full throttle around here. So where it's darker, you have darker patch here. It's a lot darker. Around somewhere around here, you'll be back full throttle. So we'll try to check the line. Full throttle. Use the exit. You could use the curb, but not more than that. You have the gravel after that, and if you touch there, you'll be penalized all the way up to turn 1 because you're gonna mess up the exit of this one. So this will be a good place for an overtake. Turn 1. If you get a good exit here, you get the draft. It's not super long straight, but that's one place that you could try to get an overtake. So concentrate of your exit. So right now it's optimal track, so the suggesting racing line is really dark, so you could see a bit more here. If the track is fast or something like that, it might not be as dark. So if you turn on this corner too early, you will not be able to do it flat. So just be patient before you turn. Like turn in a bit here. We'll go on the inside. You'll see it probably better. So shit for me. You'll see that I will turn a bit, but then I will turn more after that. So on the exit, back on full throttle. Unwheel the wheel. Here I'm gonna start to turn a bit, but take a look at the steering. When I get a little bit further on the corner, then I'm turning more. I just want to go really close to this curb. Don't want to go over it, just want to be close. If you do the line correctly here, you should be good to do it flat. And exit on the curb, on the exit. So that will be the lot for Zandvoort. If you have any corner in the track that you want me to go back, any question on the track, I'll go on the pit entry after that, where to start the brake and all that for the pit. So no question for pit entry here. It's a really fast pit entry, so be careful. What I'm using for my braking reference is this wall. You could probably start to brake at the beginning of it, and you should be fine. Because if you brake at the end of it, you have a good chance that you will not make this little turn and end up in the crashing your car here. And because the pit limiter is right here. So try something with this wall, because we're coming up so fast here. See, I'm already 217. So somewhere around here, you're gonna start to brake for your pit entry. And your pit exit is here. So if the board got taken out, it's the first line when this color pit lane ends. That will be your when you get back on the race. It's not this one, it's this one. Oh yeah, I'll show you the first sector from my other lap that was 134.0, but I think first sector was better on this one. So let's take a look from the outside. I didn't go that as wide here, so I think it's better in that. This one will be better. Keep it close, get back. So I think this first section was way better on this run than the previous one. Any question? Right.
Other than the two opportunities that you mentioned, can you think of any other safe places to make an overtake?
If you miss turn 9, you always have a chance to turn 10 because it's wide. This section here will go to turn, I'll show you. This section here is flat and so twisty that here, don't try anything
pretty,
here. Yeah,
it's impossible. What about the double right-hander? Where you're coming in wide? Is there any way to make an advantage on that? Where we're talking about seeing the crane as your brake marker?
Yeah, that's what I want. This the other one that you could take it. I don't think you could do it in turn A. I don't think you could pass here before this one. But if you set up, maybe on this one, if you set up this one, because it's easy to lose the rear here. So if you got this one good, I think before the next one, you have a chance to get to the inside here if it's wide. If he exit too wide here, you go on the outside and then you just cut back and got it back on the straight, because he will not be able to get this far out. So you could go around the outside and prepare. So you're gonna prepare for the straight if you do the cut back here, because he exit too wide on the previous corner. If you go wide here, you get a better exit here. You go here, so he will have to be more in the middle. So it will have a less better exit than you here. So you just go wide and do the cut back, and you got it back on the straight before the
chicane, and then you're on the outside for the chicane if you're doing a drag race.
It will depend on the car in front. It will depend on the car in front. It's possible to pass on the outside and also possible to pass on the inside. I did it once on the outside. The car got a not as good exit, so he went for the defense. So I stick out on the outside, and then I was on the inside for turn 12 after that. So it's really dependent on what the other car will do. It's hard to say. So just need to react to what the other driver do and try to take advantage of his mistake if he does.
He does.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mikhail.
All right. No problem. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Hope it helped and hope you have fun this week.
Thanks.
Much appreciated.
Do you think we're going to be in the dark on the rookies? I don't think so.
No, Larry, any idea?
Well,
we
Raphael, we can very easily look on the Sim Racing GP website.
Okay,
And
well,
when you pull that up, you can look under condition. The event can look.
Larry,
Flom, please mute me.
Configuration.
Yes, dude, I couldn't even do that.